What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Moana 2, the latest animated film from Disney. Moana 2, of course, the sequel to the 2016 sleeper hit. I think people forget that Moana, the original, was not a massive film at the box office at all, but had this incredibly long and successful life, in part buoyed by Disney Plus, and is now one of the biggest and most popular Disney films of all time in a certain sense, because this film is absolutely like locked in with the younger generation, with Gen Z, Gen Alpha. Like, people love the first Moana in part because I think the songs from Lin Manuel Miranda are really strong and really stick with people, and it's just been a huge behemoth of a film. And Moana 2, of course, did in fact buoy that hype and makes really a lot of sense. But just to kind of put a note on how big Moana 2 has been thus far, it ended up grossing 225 million over 5 days. Of course, the extended opening over the Thanksgiving holiday, breaking the Thanksgiving opening day record, doubling that over from Frozen 2's mark, setting the record for the biggest Disney animation opening of all time, the biggest overall animated opening of all time, beating Mario from last year. This film, without a doubt, will be one of the biggest movies of the year. Frankly, it might have a chance to pass Inside Out 2, which was also at an absolute behemoth that in turn passed Frozen 2 as the highest grossing anime movie of all time. To me, the most interesting about Moana 2 is its journey to the big screen, because this was originally conceived as a TV series for Disney Plus and was smartly, wisely course corrected back to the big screen, because I think, as we all know, the industry has long since accepted the all in for streaming strategy at the expense of theaters is just leaving money on the table, as evidenced by the success of Moana 2. Frankly, you'd have to wonder how successful Hocus Pocus 2 could have been, a movie that was dumped on Disney Plus during the pandemic. But unsurprisingly, Moana 2 is absolutely massive, and that's despite the fact that I don't think Moana 2 is very good at all. Moana 2 really struggles with having any momentum throughout its course. I think the conflict with this film is so thin. The similarities to the first film don't even bother me per se. Moana has another quest to achieve, going out for another adventure with the help of Dwayne Johnson's demigod Maui. That's fine. I think the issue with Moana 2 is just that, like, the story doesn't make a lot of sense. None of the supporting characters are that compelling. I think Maui, as voiced by Dwayne Johnson, frankly one of his strongest contributions to Hollywood. The Maui character feels very attached after the fact to this story, probably speaking to the Frankenstein nature of this screenplay out of its TV origins. But also, the songs just aren't there this time around, and that's a big problem with Disney animated musicals. You want the songs to be good; they have to be memorable. That's what keeps people coming back, and that's what helps these movies stand the test of time. And Lin Manuel Miranda was not involved, and frankly, it shows. Whether you're a fan of Lin or not, obviously he's a bit more polarizing now than he was, say, 10 years ago. His work for the first Moana is some of his greatest contributions to culture, frankly. And his absence is certainly felt. I don't think the songs are very good at all. I certainly don't remember any of them, having just seen the movie. There's some decent humorous moments in the movie. I think the stuff with the coconuts is pretty funny, but all the other supporting characters really don't do a whole lot for me. It just feels incredibly thin, and there's just not a lot of like tension to what's going on basically the entire time. I think the ending is pretty solid, but again, nothing really spectacular about it. The like overarching villain of Nalo is just expressed as this like big storm. It just doesn't really have any like bearing, and like there's you don't feel anything with it. The movie also has, to me, like almost like the Frozen 2 problem, in the sense that like there's such a lack of an antagonist that you just kind of feel it throughout the movie, just because Nalo's, I know he's the storm god, but like the expression of him as just like evil storms that are preventing them from achieving their quest, like it just doesn't have a lot of oomph. And then the Matangi character, when you meet her in the middle of the movie, and she has like some mystery, she has some charm to her, right? I'm like, oh, is this like the villain introduction? Like I was feeling like almost like Lion King Scar vibes for just a second there. But no, the character's not even really presented as much of a piece of conflict at all, despite her initial quarrel or lack of helping to Maui in the beginning of the movie. And it just feels kind of like a wasted opportunity, almost like an interstitial aspect of the storytelling. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not like super Moana build in the first place, so I'm sure like people that like the first one might have more to appreciate about this, but also like it's obviously for kids. I think kids will love it all the same, but like I just think like there's just not a whole lot to really celebrate about this film, especially compared to some recent, Disney hits such as like Encanto or Ride the Last Dragon. Like those movies are a lot better than this. Like it is what it is. That being said, I'm very happy the movie is going to be very successful. I think the kind of late season surge we're seeing at the box office with Wicked and Moana 2 is helping kind of close the gap down for the box office from last year in terms of the strike delays kind of keeping the box office down a bit here. So that's a welcome at the very least. But yeah, let me know what you think of Moana 2. Did you like it more than me? If so, let me know why. I'd love to know because I just didn't think there was a lot here. And for more movie reviews, subscribe. I'll see you next time.